So we're back with Virginia from the ACT Rural Fire Service. I'm going to talk about preparing your rural property for animal safety. So Virginia, what kind of tips can you give landholders about preparing their livestock and their animals?
Yep. Well, the one thing we push very hard is for planning. Planning well ahead of the fire season. You've got large numbers of stock in many cases. You can't just move those like you can a cat or a dog. You need to be able to do that well ahead of time. So making sure that you've got good plans, you've got refuge paddocks or paddocks that have been grazed down or hazard reduction undertaken on them, whether they be near the house so that you've got easy access. So any of your prized rams or your heifers, or make sure that they're in good eaten down paddocks. Lots of water, obviously. Make sure that you've got your insurance up to date as well with your stock. That's really important. But making sure with horses in particular that you're taking off well in advance of any of the fire arriving, that if it's on a bad bushfire day that you go down, you take the halters and the synthetic coats and things off horses. You can even put paint their identification on them with an animal paint, and make sure that they that gates are open so that they can run from unburnt area onto burnt area if they need to, and just planning well ahead and making sure that movement of stock is done, so that you don't have to worry at the last minute.
So what sort of services are there to help people prepare well?
Yep. Well, again, we've got our bushfire survival plan, and that's going to take care of all the family, which includes the dogs and the cats and the pets, and particularly with rural areas, you've got the dogs are very valuable. They're working dogs as well, and there are ponies and things like that. So make sure when you're planning your bushfire survival plan that you're actually incorporating those into your family plan. But when it comes to the stock, this is when we say call us and we can come out and we'll talk to you through the Farm Firewise program, and we'll work with trying to help you identify paddocks, helping you identify what things you can do to reduce hazards, and incorporate that in your planning. And obviously we do have some information online, but really Farm Firewise is the best way to go.
Yeah. And so are there any your top tips for landholders?
Yeah, look, if there was one thing that I wanted a rural landholder to take away here, it's that the Bushfire Survival Plan is an incredibly important document. Even if you think you've grown up on the land, you know exactly what you're doing, situations change. You've got over summer you can have relatives come and stay with you over Christmas, people who have never been exposed to bushfire before, and I think that's really important. Plans that if you decide to stay and defend a home and you've got it properly prepared, if something goes wrong and you're sick or someone's ill that you had written into your plan, well, that's going to change your ability to actually put that plan into practice. So we need to always make sure that you look at your bushfire survival plan. You have a plan A and a plan B. Even if you decide to stay, you should also make a plan for leaving, so that if you're caught unawares or you have to leave, then at least you know what you're doing. So make sure you pre-plan, make sure you're planning for all of your family, and know that you don't have to live in a bushfire-prone area to be affected by bushfire. Travelling into these rural areas, working in these rural areas, people need to be well aware.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Virginia.
Thank you.